Alex Carter dragged his feet up the 3 flights of stairs to his apartment. The elevator was broken again. 14 hours at NASA's Johnson Space Center had left him barely able to think. His eyes burned from staring at computer screens all day, checking and rechecking calculations for the new satellite design. Just need sleep, he mumbled to himself as he fumbled with his keys. The door finally opened, and he stumbled inside, not bothering to turn on the lights. He didn't notice the faint blue glow coming from his living room or the strange smell, like the air after a lightning strike. Alex kicked off his shoes and dropped his bag on the floor. He managed to brush his teeth, but only because the habit was so deeply ingrained. His bedroom was dark and cool, just how he liked it. Without changing his clothes, he fell face first onto his bed and was asleep within seconds. The dreams came quickly. Strange visions of stars moving in patterns he'd never seen before. Unfamiliar planets with rings of every color. Creatures that seemed to swim through the vacuum of space like it was water. In his dream, Alex reached out to touch one of these beings, fascinated by its glowing skin. Something heavy pressed down on his chest. Alex stirred, thinking it was just part of his dream. The weight shifted slightly. His eyes fluttered open, trying to adjust to the darkness. The digital clock on his nightstand showed 3:17 a.m. He'd been asleep for less than 4 hours. The weight on his chest was real. Alex blinked hard, forcing his eyes to focus in the dim red glow from his alarm clock. There was a shape sitting on top of him. A person? No, the silhouette was wrong. The head was too large, the neck too long. And were those ... 4 arms? His heart pounded so hard, he thought it might break through his ribs. His mouth opened to scream, but fear paralyzed his vocal cords. The creature shifted again, leaning down, closer to his face. Its skin caught the faint light from the clock and reflected it with a purple shimmer, like oil on water. "Don't be afraid," the being whispered. The voice was soft and musical, with an accent he couldn't place, somehow feminine. "I won't harm you." Alex couldn't believe what he was seeing. The creature's face was just inches from his own now. Large. Almond-shaped eyes reflected his own terrified expression back at him. There was no white in those eyes, just silver mirrors that seemed to swirl with their own light. The nose was small, just 2 slits. The mouth was human-like but wider, and when it spoke, he glimpsed teeth that glowed faintly blue. "What?" Alex finally found his voice, though it cracked with fear. "What are you?" The being tilted its head, an oddly human gesture. "I am Lyra, of the Vextal." 2 of her 4 hands moved in a complex pattern near her chest, possibly some kind of greeting. "And you are Alex Carter, aerospace engineer, specialist in orbital mechanics and propulsion systems." Ice filled Alex's veins. "How do you know my name? How do you know what I do?" "We have been watching your species for some time," Lyra said, still sitting comfortably on his chest. Her weight was substantial, but not crushing. "You in particular for the past 3 months, 2 weeks, and 4 days." Alex tried to push himself up, but Lyra placed one hand gently on his shoulder, keeping him in place with surprising strength. "Please remain calm. I need to tell you something important." "Get off me first," Alex demanded, finding a spark of courage through his fear. Lyra considered this, then gracefully moved to sit beside him on the bed instead of on top of him. Alex scrambled backward until his back hit the headboard, putting as much distance between them as possible. Now that she wasn't directly on top of him, he could see more of her form. Lyra was about his height, with violet skin that seemed to pulse with subtle patterns of light. 4 arms extended from a slender torso. She wore what looked like a fitted bodysuit made of material that shifted colors slightly as she moved. Her legs were longer than a human's, with an extra joint where the knee would be. This is not how first contact is supposed to happen, Alex said, his mind racing through all the protocols NASA had theorized for encountering extraterrestrial life. None of them involved aliens breaking into apartments and sitting on people's chests while they slept. This is not official first contact, Lyra replied, her head tilted again in that curious way. That will come later, if all goes well. What does that mean? Why are you here? In my apartment? On top of me? Lyra's mouth curved into what might have been a smile. Your species is not alone anymore, Alex Carter. You have been chosen as humanity's ambassador because your mind is compatible with ours. The fate of Earth depends on what happens in the next 72 hours. Alex ran a hand through his dark hair, trying to process her words. Ambassador? Compatible mind? That's crazy. I'm just an engineer. I work on satellites. I'm not even good with people, let alone ... whatever you are. Vextal, Lyra. Corrected. And you were not selected for your social skills. You were selected for your neural patterns and your knowledge of space technologies. Both will be essential. Essential for what? Lyra's eyes dimmed slightly, the swirling silver slowing. Your planet has been broadcasting signals into space for decades. We detected them. But so did others. Not all who travel between stars are peaceful. A chill ran through Alex that had nothing to do with the room temperature. Are you saying Earth is in danger? Potentially. Lyra stood up, her movements fluid and graceful despite her unusual anatomy. The Krazul scout ships will arrive in 3 days. My people can help you, but first we must determine if humans are worth the risk of opposing the Krazul. Alex swung his legs over the side of the bed, facing Lyra directly now. And I'm supposed to convince your people that humans deserve to be saved? How am I qualified for that? You aren't. Not yet. Lyra extended one of her 4 hands toward him. Her fingers were longer than human fingers, with an extra joint and webbing between them that glowed faintly. But I will help you become qualified. We will learn from each other. Alex stared at her outstretched hand. His mind raced with 1,000 questions, fears, and doubts. This couldn't be real. He must still be dreaming. Maybe he'd finally cracked from overwork, but the alien standing before him, with her glowing skin and 4 arms, was too detailed. Too present to be a dream or hallucination. What happens if I say no? He asked. Lyra's expression changed, the light patterns on her skin shifting to darker hues. Then I find someone else. But we lose precious time, and time is something your species may not have much of left. Alex took a deep breath. His hand trembled as he slowly reached out and took Lyra's offered hand. Her skin was warm and slightly textured, like fine suede. I must be insane, he muttered. Perhaps, Lyra agreed, the lights in her skin brightening. But insanity may be exactly what your world needs right now. Morning came too soon for Alex. His alarm blared at 6:30 a.m., jerking him awake from troubled dreams. For a moment he lay still, hoping that the events of the night had been nothing more than a weird dream brought on by exhaustion and too much coffee. Then he heard humming from his kitchen. Not human humming. The sound was too perfect, like crystal glasses singing when rubbed along the rim. Alex groaned and buried his face in his pillow. You are awake, Lyra's voice called out. Good. We have much to do today. Alex dragged himself out of bed and pulled on a clean shirt. When he entered the kitchen, he stopped dead in his tracks. Lyra stood by his open refrigerator, examining a carton of orange juice with 2 of her hands while her other 2 hands held a frying pan and a spatula. What are you doing? Alex asked. Learning about human sustenance, Lyra replied. She tilted the orange juice carton, studying the nutrition label. This contains compounds rare on my world. Fascinating. Before Alex could stop her, Lyra tilted the carton to her mouth and drank the entire thing in several long gulps. "That was my last carton," Alex said weakly. "It was delicious. Thank you for your generosity." Lyra set the empty carton down and turned her attention to the frying pan. "I am attempting to prepare the traditional morning meal. Your information networks are full of instructions." Alex noticed his laptop was open on the counter, displaying a cooking website. Beside it lay several eggs, now cracked messily on the counter, their contents slowly dripping onto the floor. "Maybe I should make breakfast," Alex suggested. Stepping forward to take the pan from her, Lyra surrendered it without protest. "Your dwelling is inefficiently arranged," she commented, looking around the small kitchen. "The energy flow is disrupted by poor placement of objects." "It's a standard apartment kitchen," Alex said as he cleaned up the egg mess and started fresh. "And it's not a dwelling. It's my home." "Home," Lyra repeated the word, her skin pulsing with blue light. "We have a similar concept. A place of safety and regeneration." Alex cracked eggs into the pan. "Speaking of which, why my home? Why did you pick me for this ... ambassador thing?" Lyra moved to sit at his small kitchen table, folding her forearms in front of her. "Your neural patterns showed compatibility with Vex-style communication methods. Also, your work at your space agency gives you understanding of concepts that will be important. There are smarter people at NASA than me," Alex pointed out as he flipped the eggs. "People with more authority, too. Intelligence was not the primary selection criterion," Lyra said. "Adaptability was. Your mind shows unusual flexibility for your species." Alex wasn't sure if that was a compliment or not. He finished cooking in silence and sat down across from Lyra with his plate. She watched him eat with obvious fascination. "So what's the plan?" Alex asked between bites. "How exactly am I supposed to convince your people that humans are worth saving?" "We must establish a neural link," Lyra explained. "This will allow you to communicate directly with the Vex-style Council. Through this link, they will assess humanity's potential." Alex nearly choked on his eggs. "Neural link? You mean like connecting our brains? No way." "It is not permanent," Lyra assured him, "and not invasive in the way you fear. But it is necessary." "I have to go to work today," Alex said, changing the subject. "I can't just not show up because an alien has moved into my apartment." Lyra's head tilted in that curious way. "Your work is important to maintain your cover. I will remain here and continue studying human culture through your information networks." Alex had visions of coming home to find his apartment completely rearranged or his electronics taken apart. "Just ... don't change anything while I'm gone. Okay? And stay inside. If anyone sees you—" "I understand the need for secrecy," Lyra interrupted. "I have technology that will alert me if anyone approaches your dwelling. I will not be detected." 2 hours later, Alex sat at his desk at NASA, staring blankly at his computer screen. He hadn't absorbed a single word he'd read since arriving. His mind kept returning to the alien in his apartment. Was this really happening? Should he tell someone? "Earth to Alex," a voice broke through his thoughts. Katie Morgan, a fellow engineer, and one of the few people at NASA Alex considered a friend, stood by his desk with 2 cups of coffee. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "Something like that," Alex muttered, accepting the coffee gratefully. Katie sat on the edge of his desk. "Seriously, are you okay? You walked right past me in the hallway earlier without even saying hi." "Sorry," Alex said. "I didn't sleep well." "Working too hard again?" Katie asked, concern in her brown eyes. "The satellite design can wait a day. If you need a break." Alex shook his head. "It's not that. It's single quotes s ... quotes." He trailed off, unsure what to say. How could he possibly explain what was happening? "It's what?" Katie pressed. "Nothing. Just some weird dreams," Alex lied, Hating how easily the deception came, Katie didn't look convinced, but didn't push further. Well, a team meeting is in 10 minutes. Try to look more alive than you do now. The day crawled by. Alex went through the motions, nodding at appropriate times during meetings, answering questions about his work automatically. All the while, his mind was back in his apartment with Lyra. When he finally returned home that evening, he found his apartment transformed. Every piece of furniture had been moved. His couch now faced east instead of toward the TV. His bookshelf had been emptied, the books arranged in neat piles on the floor, according to some system he couldn't understand. "What did you do?" Alex asked, dropping his bag by the door. Emerged from the bathroom, all 4 arms carrying different cleaning supplies. "I have optimized your living space for better energy flow," she announced proudly. "Also, I have improved your primitive cleaning compounds by adding elements from my personal kit." "You said you wouldn't change anything," Alex exclaimed. "I said I would not be detected," Lyra corrected, "and I wasn't." Alex sank onto his repositioned couch and put his head in his hands. "This is insane. I can't do this. I can't pretend everything is normal at work while hiding an alien in my apartment." Lyra set down the cleaning supplies and approached him. "You must. The Krazul scout ships will arrive in just over 2 days now. We have little time to prepare you." "Prepare me for what exactly?" Alex looked up at her. "What happens when these Krazul arrive?" Lyra's skin darkened to a deep purple. "They will scan your planet. If they detect your civilization, they will mark Earth for harvesting. The Krazul see emerging technological species as resources, not equals." A cold feeling settled in Alex's stomach. "And your people, the Vextal, what do they want?" "Some wish to welcome humanity into the galactic community," Lyra said, her skin lightening slightly. "Others believe your species is too unpredictable, too dangerous to include. The Council must decide, and if they decide against us, then they will not intervene when the Krazul come." Lyra's 4 hands performed a complex gesture. "I believe this would be a mistake. That is why I'm here, against the wishes of some, on the Council, to give humanity a chance." Alex stared at the alien standing in his living room, surrounded by his rearranged furniture and piles of books. Everything about this situation was impossible, and yet here they were. "Okay," he said. "Finally, tell me more about this neural link." Lyra placed 2 small crystal devices on the coffee table. They looked like flattened diamonds, each about the size of a quarter, with faint blue light pulsing inside them. "These are neural interfaces," she explained. "One for you, one for me. They will create a temporary connection between our minds." Alex picked up one of the crystals. It felt warm in his palm and seemed to pulse in time with his heartbeat. "Will it hurt?" "There will be some discomfort," Lyra admitted. "Your brain has never processed information the way mine does. But the pain will pass quickly." Alex set the crystal back down. "And after we do this, I'll be able to convince your Council that humans are worth saving?" "If they see in you what I have seen, yes." Lyra's skin glowed with soft purple light. "But I must warn you, the link works both ways. You will experience my thoughts and memories, and I will experience yours." Alex thought about all the embarrassing moments in his life, all his private thoughts and secrets. The idea of sharing them with an alien made him deeply uncomfortable. "Is there no other way?" he asked. Lyra shook her head. "Time is short. The Krazul will arrive tomorrow night." Alex took a deep breath. "Okay, what do I do?" "Lie down," Lyra instructed. "The process can be disorienting." Alex stretched out on the couch. Lyra picked up both crystals and sat on the floor beside him. She placed one crystal on her own forehead, where it seemed to stick by itself. Then she held the second crystal above Alex's forehead. "Ready?" She asked. "No," Alex said honestly, "but do it anyway." Lyra placed the crystal on his forehead. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a sharp pain shot through Alex's head, like brain freeze, but 1,000 times worse. He gasped and gripped the edges of the couch. Suddenly, his mind exploded with images and sensations. He saw vast cities made of crystal and light, floating in the atmospheres of gas giants. He felt the sensation of swimming through liquid methane oceans under ice caps. He heard music made of mathematical patterns, so complex they made his heart ache. He was seeing Lyra's memories, experiencing her world. He saw the Vex-style civilization spanning dozens of star systems, their history stretching back millions of years. He felt their ongoing conflict with the Krazul, a species that consumed other civilizations for resources and technology. Then, just as suddenly, the flow reversed. Alex felt Lyra experiencing his memories, building model rockets as a child, his parents' painful divorce, his first kiss in high school, the day he was accepted to work at NASA. She felt his loneliness, his dedication to his work, his secret dreams of someday going to space himself. The intensity of the connection was overwhelming. Alex felt tears running down his face, though he wasn't sad. It was simply too much to process. Then, slowly, the flood of memories began to sort themselves into order in his mind. The pain faded, replaced by a strange sense of dual awareness. When Alex opened his eyes, he found he could still feel Lyra's presence in his mind, like a warm light at the edge of his consciousness. And he could understand her language now. The complex musical tones and gestures suddenly made sense to him. That was ... Alex struggled to find words. Intense, Lyra finished for him. She was staring at him with wide silver eyes. Your emotions are so ... loud. My species does not experience feelings with such intensity. Alex sat up slowly, his head spinning slightly. I can understand your language now. Yes, and you have access to some of my technical knowledge as well. Lyra's skin was pulsing with rapid patterns of light that Alex now recognized as signs of emotional distress. I did not anticipate how powerful human emotions would be. Your childhood memories, your pain when your parental units separated. It was overwhelming. Alex was surprised to see that Lyra was trembling slightly. Are you okay? I will adjust, she said, but her voice wavered. Our neural structures are more different than I expected. The link has affected me more deeply than it should have. Alex noticed something odd about Lyra's behavior. She was sitting cross-legged on the floor now, a very human posture that he'd never seen her use before. And when she spoke, her hand gestures were minimal, more like a human's than the complex movements she usually made. You're acting differently, he observed. The link works both ways, Lyra reminded him. I am experiencing some bleed through of your behavioral patterns. It will stabilize soon. Alex stood up and walked to the kitchen, needing a glass of water. As he drank, he realized he could access fragments of Lyra's knowledge. He understood the basic principles behind Vextal space travel now and their communication systems. Most of it was still beyond his comprehension, but he grasped the fundamentals. There's something you didn't tell me, Alex said as he returned to the living room. About your mission here. Lyra looked away, her skin darkening. Yes, you weren't authorized to make contact with me. You're a renegade among your people. Alex spoke with certainty, the knowledge coming directly from their shared link. The Council is divided, Lyra admitted. Some believe humanity should be given a chance to join the galactic community. Others think your species is too violent, too unpredictable. They would prefer to simply hide your world from the Krazul, keeping you in isolation. And which side are you on? I believe isolation is cruel. Lyra stood up, moving with less of her usual fluid grace and more like a human. Your species has such potential. Such passion. You deserve a chance. Alex could feel her sincerity through their connection. But he also sensed something else, something she was trying to hide from him. The Krozul aren't just coming to scout, are they? He asked quietly. This is a full invasion force. Lyra's skin went almost black with distress. Yes, the scouting was done months ago. The ships arriving tomorrow are harvesters. If they detect your civilization, they will begin systematic extraction of your planet's resources and useful biological material. Meaning us, Alex said flatly. They'll harvest humans, yes? Lyra moved closer to him, her movements becoming more Vex-style-like again as she regained control. That is why we must act quickly. We need to contact both my people and yours. We need all eyes on both sides. How am I supposed to convince human authorities about an alien invasion without sounding crazy? They'll lock me up before I can explain. There is someone who might believe you, Lyra suggested. Your work companion, Katie Morgan. She has an open mind and advanced knowledge of biology. The link between us shows she is important to you. You trust her. Alex felt his face grow warm at the reminder that Lyra now knew all his private thoughts, including his unspoken attraction to Katie. I can't just tell Katie that aliens are about to invade Earth, Alex protested. You must, Lyra insisted. We need her help to access your planet's deep space communication array. With it, we can contact the Vex-Tall Council while simultaneously warning your leaders. Alex paced the room, thinking. The neural link had changed everything. He couldn't pretend. This wasn't happening. He couldn't ignore the threat. And deep down, he knew Lyra was right about Katie. Okay, he said finally. Tomorrow I'll talk to Katie. But tonight, you need to tell me everything about the Krozul and exactly what we're up against. Lyra nodded, her skin brightening with determination. We have much work to do, Alex Carter, and very little time. The next morning, Alex arrived at NASA earlier than usual. He needed to find Katie before the daily team meeting. Through his neural link with Lyra, he could feel her presence in his mind, a gentle warmth that somehow gave him courage. He found Katie in the lab, already working on samples from the latest experiment. She looked up as he entered, her eyebrows rising in surprise. You're here early, she said, and you look different. Alex took a deep breath. Katie, I need to tell you something important, something that will sound crazy. Katie put down her equipment and gave him her full attention. Okay, I'm listening. Not here, Alex said, glancing around. Can we go somewhere private? 10 minutes later, they sat in Katie's car in the far corner of the parking lot. Alex had been silent the whole way, trying to figure out how to start. Alex, you're scaring me, Katie said. Are you sick? In trouble? I'm not sick, Alex said. But the whole world is in trouble. He paused, then decided to just say it. I met an alien. She's living in my apartment. And there's an invasion force coming to Earth tonight. Katie stared at him for a long moment. If this is a joke, it's not funny. It's not a joke. Alex pulled out his phone and showed her a picture he'd taken of Lyra that morning. Her name is Lyra. She's from a species called the Vex-Tall. Katie took the phone, studying the image with wide eyes. This could be faked, ... It's not, Alex insisted, and I can prove it. Come to my apartment at lunch. Meet her yourself. Katie handed the phone back, her scientific mind clearly working through possibilities. Let's say I believe you. What's this about an invasion? Alex explained everything: the Krozul, the Vex-Tall Council, the neural link, and their plan to use NASA's deep space communication array. So you want me to help you sneak an alien into one of the most secure facilities in the country? Katie asked when he finished. Yes, Alex admitted. It sounds insane, I know. But the fate of our entire planet depends on it." Katie was silent for a long moment. "I'll come to your apartment at lunch," she said finally. "But I'm not promising anything else until I see proof." The morning dragged by slowly. Alex could barely focus on his work. Through the neural link, he sensed Lyra's growing anxiety as, well, the Krozul ships were getting closer. At lunch, Alex drove Katie to his apartment. She was quiet during the ride, but he could see the tension in her posture. She might seem strange at first, Alex warned as they approached his door, but she's not dangerous. He unlocked the door and led Katie inside. Lyra stood in the middle of the living room, all four of her arms at her sides, her violet skin glowing. Softly, Katie stopped dead in her tracks. "Oh my God," she whispered. "It's real. You're real." "Hello, Katie Morgan," Lyra said, her voice musical and strange. "Alex has told me much about you." Katie stepped forward cautiously, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. "This is incredible. You're actually an extraterrestrial being. Your biology must be fascinating." "I find yours equally interesting," Lyra replied. "Your emotional responses are particularly complex." Alex felt a surge of relief through the neural link. Katie believed them now. They had an ally. "Show her," Alex said to Lyra. "Show her what's coming." Lyra raised her hands, and a holographic display appeared in the air between them. It showed several large ships approaching Earth's orbit. "These are Krozul harvester vessels," Lyra explained. "They will arrive in approximately 8 hours. If they detect your civilization, they will begin systematic extraction of your planet's resources, including biological specimens." Katie stared at the display, her face pale. "And your plan is to use NASA's Deep Space Array to contact both your people and ours?" "Yes," Lyra confirmed. "With modifications from my technology, we can boost the signal to reach the Vextal Council while simultaneously contacting your world leaders. We need your help to access the communication facility after hours," Alex added. "We can go in under the pretense of running experimental protocols." Katie ran a hand through her hair, thinking hard. This is a lot to process. "But if what you're showing me is real, we don't have much choice." She looked at Alex. "I'll help you." That evening, the three of them drove back to NASA. Katie had arranged access to the communication facility, telling security they were running special tests for an upcoming mission. Alex carried a bag containing Lyra's technology, disguised as standard equipment. But as they approached the security checkpoint, Frank Weber, the head of security, stepped forward. "Working late, Morgan?" he asked, eyeing the three of them suspiciously. "Special. Request from Dr. Phillips," Katie said smoothly. "These tests need to be run during low traffic hours." Frank looked at Lyra, who wore a hooded jacket and kept her face down. "Who's this?" "I don't recognize her." "New consultant," Alex said quickly. "Just brought on for this project." Frank frowned. "I need to see ID for all personnel." Katie stepped forward, showing her badge. "Frank, we're on a tight deadline here. Dr. Phillips will be furious if these tests aren't completed tonight." Frank hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. "Fine, but I'm escorting you to the facility myself." Alex felt a spike of alarm through his neural link with Lyra. This wasn't part of the plan. The four of them walked through the building in tense silence. When they reached the communication facility, Frank swiped his card to let them in. "I'll wait outside," he said. "Standard protocol for after-hours access." Once inside, Alex quickly closed the door. "This complicates things," he whispered. "We have no choice," Lyra said, lowering her hood. Her violet skin glowed brightly in the dim room. "The Krozul ships will arrive in less than 2 hours." Katie moved to the main control panel. "What modifications do we need to make?" Lyra pulled several crystal devices from Alex's bag and began attaching them to the communication array systems. These will amplify your signal and change its frequency to one the Vextile can detect. They worked quickly, following Lyra's instructions. Through their neural link, Alex could understand the complex alien technology better than he should have. His hands moved almost automatically, making connections and adjustments. Just as they finished the modifications, the door burst open. Frank Weber stood there, his face hard with suspicion. "I knew something was wrong," he said, then froze as he saw Lyra clearly for the first time. "What the hell is that?" "Frank, wait," Katie began, but the security chief was already reaching for his radio. "Security breach in communication facility." He barked, "Need immediate backup." One of the guards behind him drew a taser and aimed it at Lyra. Without thinking, Alex jumped in front of her. The taser probes hit him in the chest, sending electricity coursing through his body. He collapsed to the floor, muscles spasming in pain. Through the haze of agony, Alex felt something else, Lyra's pain. The neural link was transmitting his suffering to her. He looked up to see her sink to her knees, her skin darkening to deep purple, all four arms wrapped around herself, as she experienced his pain as her own. "Stop!" Katie shouted, kneeling beside Alex. "You're hurting them both." The guard lowered the taser, confusion on his face as he watched the alien reacting to Alex's pain. In that moment of chaos, Alex realized something profound. The link between him and Lyra wasn't just a transfer of information. It was something deeper, something that had connected them in ways neither of them had anticipated. And in that connection might lie their only hope of saving Earth. The next hour passed in a blur of confusion and urgent explanations. Frank Weber had called for backup, but Katie managed to convince the security team not to arrest them immediately. She explained that they were facing a global emergency and needed to complete their work on the communication array. "You expect me to believe that?" Frank asked, staring at Lyra with a mixture of fear and fascination. "Look at her," Katie said simply. "She's clearly not human. And in less than an hour, her people's enemies will arrive in Earth's orbit. If we don't send this message, our planet is doomed." Frank hesitated, then made a decision. "You have 30 minutes? Then I'm calling the government." Alex, still recovering from the taser, pulled himself up with Katie's help. Through the neural link, he could feel Lyra's pain fading along with his own. "Thank you," he said to Frank, then turned to Lyra. "We need to finish the modifications." Lyra nodded, her skin slowly returning to its normal violet color. They returned to work, connecting the last of her crystal devices to the communication array. The security team watched from a distance, weapons lowered but ready. "It's ready," Lyra announced finally. "Now we must compose the message." Alex stood before the main control panel, feeling the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. Through their neural link, Lyra shared a complex code sequence that would reach the Vextile Council. "What do I say to them?" Alex asked quietly. "Speak from your heart," Lyra replied. "Let them feel what I have felt through our link. The Council needs to understand what makes humans worth saving." Alex took a deep breath and activated the modified communication system. The screens around them flickered with strange symbols as Lyra's technology interfaced with human equipment. "My name is Alex Carter," he began. "I speak to the Vextile Council on behalf of humanity. I know you're divided about whether to help us against the Krazal. I know some of you think we're too violent, too unpredictable to join your galactic community." He paused, gathering his thoughts. Through the link, he felt Lyra's encouragement. "You're not wrong about us. We are flawed. We fight wars. We damage our own planet. We're often selfish and short-sighted, but that's not all we are." Alex thought about everything Lyra had experienced through their neural link, his childhood joy building rockets, His wonder at the stars, his dedication to exploration, his capacity for love and friendship. Through my connection with Lyra, you can see who we truly are. We create art and music. We sacrifice for others. We dream of the stars. We feel emotions so strongly that they overwhelmed Lyra at first. That passion is our greatest weakness, but also our greatest strength. On the screens, symbols flashed in response. Lyra translated. The Council is listening. They request proof of humanity's worth. Alex looked at Katie, at Frank and the security team, all watching him with hope and fear in their eyes. We don't have time to prove ourselves with words, Alex continued. The Krozol will be here any minute, but I can show you through our actions. Right now, I'm standing in a room with humans who just discovered aliens exist, who just learned their world is in danger. Their first reaction wasn't to attack Lyra, but to help her, to help save all of us. More symbols flashed across the screen. They say it's not enough, Lyra translated, her voice tight with worry. One example doesn't outweigh humanity's history of violence. At that moment, alarms began to sound throughout the facility. Frank's radio crackled with urgent messages. Multiple unidentified objects entering Earth's atmosphere. A voice reported, all systems going haywire. The Krozol are here, Lyra said, her skin darkening with fear. Alex felt a surge of determination. Through their neural link, an idea formed part his, part Lyra's. Impossible to tell where one mind ended and the other began. Council of the Vextel, Alex said firmly. You don't have to decide if humans deserve to join your community, yet. But at least give us a chance to survive, to prove ourselves in the future. Help us hide from the Krozol now, and judge us by what we become, not just what we've been. He turned to Lyra. The solar shield concept from your memories. Could we use Earth's satellite network to create something similar? Lyra's eyes widened. Yes, but it would require precise coordination. Every satellite would need to be realigned. Katie, Alex said, turning to his friend. Can you access NASA's satellite control system from here? Katie nodded and moved to another terminal. What are we doing? Creating a shield, Alex explained, the knowledge flowing from his link with Lyra. If we use Earth's satellites to generate a specific electromagnetic field combined with Lyra's technology, we can make Earth appear uninhabitable to Krozol sensors. Frank stepped forward. I can contact other space agencies, get them to coordinate their satellites too. For the next 20 minutes, they worked frantically. Katie and the NASA team realigned satellites. Frank coordinated with agencies around the world. Alex and Lyra integrated her alien technology with Earth systems, creating something entirely new. On the screens, more symbols appeared from the Vextal Council. They're surprised by our cooperation, Lyra translated. They single quotes impressed. They're sending technical specifications to enhance the shield. New data flowed into their systems. Alex's hands moved with certainty, guided by knowledge that wasn't entirely his own. Through their neural link, he and Lyra worked as one mind, one purpose. It's ready, Alex announced finally. Activating now. He pressed the sequence of commands. Around the world, hundreds of satellites shifted position. Lyra's crystal devices pulsed with brilliant light. On the screens, a simulation showed a protective field forming around Earth. Now we wait, Lyra said softly. Minutes passed in tense silence. The alarms continued to sound. Reports came in of strange lights in the sky, of electronics failing in patterns across the globe. Then suddenly, everything went quiet. The alarm stopped. The strange lights disappeared. New symbols appeared on the screen. The Council says the Krozol ships are moving away, Lyra translated, her skin glowing with bright blue joy. Their scans show Earth as a dying world with no useful resources. We did it. The room erupted in cheers. Katie hugged Alex tightly. Even Frank was smiling with relief. In the midst of the celebration, Alex felt something new through the neural link, a deep warmth from Lyra, an emotion he couldn't quite name, but recognized all the same. What happens now? He asked her quietly. The Council is impressed by what humans achieved today, Lyra replied. They've agreed to establish official first contact. Earth will be invited to join the galactic community, with certain protections until your species is ready for full integration. And you? Alex asked. Will you have to leave? Lyra's skin pulsed with soft purple light. The Council has appointed me as official ambassador to Earth in recognition of my unique connection with humanity. She paused, then added, with you. Alex smiled, feeling the echo of her emotions through their link. So you'll be staying? As my roommate? Yes, Lyra said, her mouth forming the human expression of a smile she'd learned from him. Though perhaps we should find a larger apartment. Your current dwelling has inefficient energy flow. Alex laughed, relief and joy washing through him. 3 days ago, he had woken to find an alien sitting on top of him, whispering words that seemed impossible. Now those words had changed everything, not just for him, but for all of humanity. Through their neural link, he shared this thought with Lyra, feeling her agreement and something more. Whatever came next, they would face it. Together, the human engineer and his alien roommate connected in ways neither of their species had ever imagined possible.